if we were to educate ourselves on how we can integrate more light hacking into our environment, how would one use their blue blocking glasses and their red light therapy?
So we're trying to mimic a natural light pattern using technology. That's why we do our red light therapy around sunrise to mimic sunrise. Then we have all the bright light throughout the day. Then we have another red light therapy session around sunset to mimic sunset. And then we have darkness or very, very low light after our red light therapy session. Maybe we put our yellow blockers on again, or we put the red blockers on and we turn the lights down. And then when we go to sleep, we switch off all our devices 1 hour before bed, and we just exist in a state of calmness, a state of low light, relaxing, reading, listening to some music, chilling out. With this protocol, most people will have the best sleep of their lives.
Welcome back to the Charles and Giselle Show. I am delighted to introduce you today to Bryan, who is one of the founder of Red Light Rising. I discovered the benefit of red light therapy when I was recovering from my runs, ice bath, and looking to enhance my physical performance as well as my mental recovery. And I'm so grateful to have Bryan here with us today to talk to us about the benefit of red light. Bryan, welcome to the Charles and Giselle Show.
Hello. Thank you so much for inviting me, and it's great to see you again.
Really good to see you again too. How have you been? It's been a few years.
Yeah, been very, very good, very busy. Red light therapy, thankfully, is starting to become really well known. It's starting to become really well accepted in the health and wellness community. So it's been a very busy time.
Excellent. I was wondering if we could start off with the basics for our listener that may not be familiar with the concept of red light therapy. Can we start off with light and red light and a bit of an educational piece around light?
Sure thing. Light is very, very, very important. And it's one of those things that if people don't point it out to you and explain to you like why light is so important, then you don't really think of it, But it is very important because we've obviously evolved with a very certain kind of light pattern for 99% of our existence. And what I mean by a light pattern, of course, I'm talking about the sun. Because for millions of years, the sun and maybe our campfire was the only source of light we had. So our biology and our DNA has evolved with that particular pattern. And the pattern is sunrise, of course, which is kind of the dark reds and then the orange and the yellow as the sun's coming up. And then that beautiful sunshine throughout the day where it turns brighter and it turns more into blue light. And then again, towards the end of the day, you start to get the yellow, the orange, the red, the dark purple, and then the blackness of night. So that's a very particular pattern of light that humans have evolved with for millennia. And it's always in the same order, the sunrise, the bright daylight, and the sunset, then the darkness, and then repeats obviously every day. And we evolved with that, our eyes, our brains, the cells of our bodies, we evolved with that particular kind of sun. And what's very interesting about sunrise and sunset in particular is that it's very, very high in red and infrared light. It's the time of the day where the natural sun is the highest in red and infrared light. In the middle part of the day, when it's the bright light, it's mostly blue and green light, and obviously UV and all kinds of other sun rays. But those two particular points are very important. And what red light therapy is, and what they discovered, is that the red and infrared light, the red and infrared part of the spectrum is actually very, very beneficial to humans. Of course, sunlight is very beneficial in general as a whole. We really do need sunlight as human beings. But the red and the infrared is very, very useful and very healthy. And the reason that is because the red and infrared is uniquely able to penetrate the human body. And when it penetrates the human body, it goes deep inside. It can go all the way into your bones and into your muscles and into your organs. And when it does that, the cells of your body can actually absorb this light, which is very, very unique, because all the other colors of the rainbow, the blues, the greens, and all that, that gets reflected by the body. But red and infrared gets absorbed, and when it gets absorbed, it actually becomes part of the cellular energy production process. So human cells have mitochondria. These mitochondria are the little energy-producing powerhouses of the body. They convert sugar and oxygen and fat into ATP, which is an energy, a kind of cellular energy, and that fuels your whole body. And what's amazing about red and infrared light is that this kind of light can also be absorbed, and it becomes part of the energy production process. So our cells absorb this light, and then what actually happens is it causes the cells to take on even more oxygen, which means they can produce even more energy, which means a lot of things get better or function better.
And what could be one of the signs that somebody may not be getting enough red light or infrared light exposure?
Well, one of the biggest signs is kind of, pretty much any illness, any disease, and anything that you're not functioning as well as you could be. If you're struggling to lose weight, if you don't have energy, if you can't focus, if you're not sleeping well at night, maybe you've got bad skin, maybe you've got blurry eyes, you're always rubbing your eyes, they're always dry, you've got random aches and pains, you've got random skin conditions, some eczema, psoriasis, all these kind of, unfortunately, they're very common modern diseases. And that's because a lot of people, unfortunately, are running very, very low on mitochondrial energy, which, you don't only get it from red light therapy, of course, you get it from your diet and your exercise and from sleep. But red light therapy is a very powerful way to get even more cellular energy. So it's all these kind of, modern diseases that we all suffer with at some point. Like myself, I had some severe body pain that I just had no idea where it was coming from. I'm sure you have some kind of a story where you weren't healthy maybe, or something happened and that got you on your health journey. Most conditions boil down to not having enough cellular energy or poor mitochondrial function. And red light therapy is one way to boost mitochondrial function.
Mm. And what is the role of light vis-a-vis our circadian rhythm? Could you tell us a little bit more about that and the importance of that biological clock that every single one of us have, that is very much driven by light, but I think we underestimate the fact that light is at the core of our circadian rhythm.
Exactly. The circadian rhythm is the main rhythm that our body goes through on a roughly 24-hour cycle. So for most people, it's very easy to think that, we do the same thing pretty much every day. Of course, we sleep usually at hopefully the same time every day. We wake up more or less at the same time every day. We have our coffee, we have our breakfast, we do our exercise, we do our work, we deal with the kids, whatever. It all generally happens in a rhythm, and it's the same thing inside the body. The body is actually constantly counting time, okay? And the way it counts time is with natural light. So how it evolved, the circadian rhythm, is that we would be sleeping during the night, and then as soon as the sun came up, the cells of our body and obviously our eyes would register that the sun is coming up. And that would cause certain hormonal processes in the body, a spike of cortisol, a spike of adrenaline. And this would, literally wake you up. Okay, maybe you wouldn't get a fright, but you would wake up. Your eyes and your body and your brain would know, there's the sun, there's the sunrise. It's time to get up. And your body would then start working its daytime processes. And then back in the day, we would spend a lot more time outside. So again, our body, our eyes and our brain and our skin would be constantly counting the time of day. As the sun moves through the sky, it obviously changes its intensity, it changes its color, and all of this information is being absorbed by the body. So we're counting down when it's time to go to sleep again. And then, like I mentioned earlier, the yellows, oranges, and red of sunset, your body receives the signal and it knows, okay, well, for the last 2 million years, after these colors of sunset comes nighttime, which means it's time to sleep. The temperature goes down, the light goes down, it gets dark, we start to fall asleep. The brain starts to produce melatonin, which is the sleep hormone, goes through the body and makes you feel tired. And that's what the circadian rhythm is. It's controlled by light, the exposure to light or the lack of light, and it's controlled also in many parts by food. So when we eat, we generally get hungry at the same time every day. We eat our meals the same time every day. And this is the circadian rhythm. And what's interesting about the circadian rhythm is that you can train it. Okay. And so what that means is if you eat at exactly the same time every day, your body will learn to expect to be eating at 9 a.m. every day. And it will actually hormonally start to prepare for food, which will then allow you to, hopefully enjoy your food more, but also to process the food easier because your body is expecting it. Same with exercise. If you decide you're going to do some weightlifting every day at 2 p.m., your body will begin to prepare for that. Your muscles will be more primed, your blood flow will increase, your adrenaline will go up, your energy production will go up, and you'll have a much better workout. And the same thing goes for sleep. If you decide at 7 p.m., I'm turning the lights off and I'm putting red light on, your body and your brain will begin to expect that, right? It'll know as soon as I switch on that red light, it must be time for sleep. Your body will start slowing down. And by the time, 9 o'clock, 10 p.m. comes, you'll be fast asleep.
Mm. But if we think about our modern days of living nowadays, we have very dysregulated circadian rhythm, right? And especially now with remote working, which in many ways is wonderful because it gives us real flexibility. It can also be a real issue because a lot of people out there actually don't even step outside before logging in and can spend hours at their desk without having seen natural light. Can you tell us a little bit about what are some of the modern behavior, lifestyle, and work habits that dysregulate some of this circadian rhythm?
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, you're a digital nomad. I know you're traveling around all over the place and you're working, you're living from your laptop, you're living from your phone. I did the same for a very long time. It's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity, for people like ourselves where we can travel and we can work from anywhere in the world and we can enjoy the world. But what I've found in my own life is that I do spend a lot of time on the computer. I'm running a business. I'm doing podcasts online. I'm, writing emails and whatever else, working on the computer. And it's very easy to get sucked into working more and more and more and more, So I wake up really early in the morning. I try to do some deep work while it's still dark. But then as soon as the sun comes up, I go outside and I get some sunlight. So it's not the best example, but I'm in that stage of my business where I need to, do some quite a lot of work. But, we do get trapped indoors on our screens, working long hours, not getting outside enough. And this is the problem. When we're on our devices and with artificial light around us, the color of the light and the intensity of the light stays the same for, 10, 12 hours a day, however long you're in your office. It's exactly the same kind of light. It's exactly the same intensity. So your brain and your body has no idea what time it really is. Okay. It doesn't know if it's 10 a.m., midday, 3 p.m., 6 p.m., or 10 p.m., because you're under this constant barrage of intense light. So one way to at least combat that is to make sure we take regular breaks and we go outside into the natural light, whether it's sunny, whether we're in Thailand or South Africa or France or England, to go outside and get natural light. Because even if it's cloudy, even if it's raining, your brain and your eyes can still detect what time of day it is with natural light, even if there's a lot of clouds. So one thing I do a lot, and I try and get everybody, that I know who's an office worker as well, is get some light at sunrise. Absolutely, even if it should be about 15 minutes, but 5 to 10 minutes, just take a break. take your coffee, go outside and just enjoy the sunrise. Just look into nature. Look at, if you can, look at some green and some plants and some, mountains if you're lucky. Look at the sky. And then do the same thing at regular intervals throughout the day. So you can work for an hour and take a 15-minute break. Go outside and get some light. Because if you take lots of small breaks during the day, your body is able to, receive the light from the sun, and it knows, okay, 10 a.m., 1 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., bedtime, whatever the case is. So taking regular breaks outside is very, very important.
And what about folks that live in a big city and can't watch the sunrise or don't have immediate access to nature on their doorstep?
Move like I did. Leave the city.
I feel like we need to hear more about your personal story, Bryan.
Yeah. You've got to do what you've got to do, so it's difficult to prioritize it. Very, very, very few people will prioritize something that they don't feel the need for, right? So if you're like a busy executive and you're just working 15 hours a day, you feel fine, you're drinking coffee, you go, and you don't feel like you need it, it's going to be tough to tell you to, go up onto the roof of your building and get some sun, or walk to the park, which could be, 15, 20-minute walk away, depending where you are. Walk to the park and get some sun. It's going to be difficult for that. So, unfortunately, sometimes something has to go wrong before people realize, oof, I've got to take my health a bit more seriously, But, if that happens, you'll obviously make adjustments. But if you're the kind of person that wants to be, well before you get ill, then getting lots of natural light has to become a priority. And then everybody's going to prioritize that differently. Just going for a walk around the block, finding a park, getting onto the roof if you can, or at least getting to a window where you can see the sun. Maybe open the window, let the sun on your face and on your skin. I'd say that's what I would recommend.
And I love that you said that, because many of my clients work in big city, be it New York, be it Paris, London. And I truly believe that you can almost always find a little piece of nature, even if you are in a very busy city. There is a nearby park. There is the ability to step outside. And it's more of a habitual story that we tell ourselves. Well, I live in a city, I don't have access to nature. But actually, if you get into the habit of taking those natural breaks, however small they may be, then you find that you do have nature on your doorstep if you look for it.
And you actually start to look forward to it, So what I find is when I'm, really involved with work and maybe it's a bit stressful and I feel like I've got so much going on, I'm looking at my notepad and I'm looking at the emails and I just take a break. I just go outside. I'm lucky, of course, it's a bit of a different situation, but I'll go outside. I'll take my t-shirt off. I'll take my shoes off. Sometimes I'll even take my pants off and I'll just sit in my garden, there's a kind of big tree in my garden that I can sit on. I sit on the tree with my feet on the ground in the earth, and I just get the sun and I just look around. It's so important to stimulate your brain in different ways. Working on the computer is fine and it's important, and it's one type of stimulation. You can enjoy it. I enjoy working when I'm productive. I enjoy it. It's good. But equally, going outside and just taking a 15-minute break in the sun, you change what your eyes are looking at. So instead of looking at the screen for hours, you go outside and you look in the distance and you look at different shapes and you look at different colors. And, the shapes of nature are very special. You're touching the earth. You're looking at the sky. You're listening to the birds. It's one of the best breaks you could take. 15 minutes and you come back, you feel amazing. And you do another 2 hours at your desk and then you take another break. And that way you can, I found if I take regular breaks, I can work for 15 hours, not a problem. But taking regular breaks, regular breaks. But if you're trying to work 10 hours nonstop, you feel terrible because you don't have natural light. You're in the same position. You're stuck staring at a screen. It makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. And then, of course, we've spoken about the morning. But what I find in my client is there is a lot of light dysregulation in the evening. So, for example, working in a very bright office with a very bright laptop and being on our phone and then relaxing by watching very bright movies and then staring at our tablets in bed sometimes and then wondering why we can't fall asleep. So can we talk a little bit about artificial blue light at night and the importance of blocking some of that artificial blue light to make sure that we can have our sleep when we need to sleep?
Yeah, I mean that's a fantastic point, and that ties into the whole story about the sun and the circadian rhythm. So our devices, like you say, are giving off very, very bright light, which is great when you need to see what you're doing. But after dark, after sunset, our light environment is supposed to be dark. You know, we're not supposed to have like this artificial light that I'm using right now. It's so bright. You're not supposed to have that after sunset, because your body has evolved that when the sun goes down, it's supposed to be dark. But now I'm staring at my mobile phone, or I'm staring at my laptop, or I'm watching, TV, and I'm getting this bright light. It's very, very generally very high in green and blue light. And green and blue light is what actually wakes your brain up and stimulates your brain and shuts off melatonin production and increases cortisol and adrenaline. So if you're, in your example, in bed, you're watching a movie in bed, or you're playing on your phone, or you're playing on your tablet, you're getting all this bright light in your face, and your brain it's confused now. It's like, hang on, we had a whole day of work. It's been roughly 16 hours since we woke up. I've done my exercise. I've had 3 meals today. I've done my work. I'm in bed now, but it's still so bright. Your brain doesn't know that it's a mobile phone, not the sun. Your brain just gets this light and thinks that must be the sun. So I have to stay awake because I have to do things during the day. So then you switch off your phone and you try and relax. But it can take your brain 3 or 4 hours to go from daylight settings to nighttime settings. So it creates overstimulation. It delays the onset of melatonin production. It delays the onset of deep sleep and REM sleep. So you might pass out, but you're just lying in bed for 3 or 4 hours before your brain starts to release melatonin. And it's that release of melatonin that floods through your body and tells all the organs of your body and all your muscles and your bones that you're now asleep, and now they can start their healing and repairing.
Mm-hmm. And I think that in many situations, we are unaware of how much bright light we're consuming at night up until the point where we start the educational piece. And I'm speaking for myself here. When I burnt out as a lawyer, I was constantly under artificial blue light at night and blissfully unaware, except for the fact that I was diagnosed with chronic insomnia and I had no idea. And I had a bit of an addiction to my devices. I love being on the phone. I don't know if I love is the right word, but I was addicted to being on my work phone. And then I would tend to seek relaxation by looking for more digital distraction. So it's a bit of a vicious circle, right? And then, of course, I couldn't fall asleep. And then I discovered blue blocking glasses, and I can't live without them anymore, to the point where I actually fall asleep. And most morning I wake up and I still have my blue blocking glasses on my face. Because I'm just now so accustomed to making sure I do not have artificial blue light either in my vicinity or anywhere near my eyes. I've gotten into this ritual where I won't go to bed unless they're on my face.
That's fantastic. That's a great habit, and it's funny you say that, because you will know many people, and I know many people, like, they don't have any idea about artificial light. So I'll walk into a building, let's say I'm going out, with some friends. Like, a big thing for me is if I go out at night and I walk into a building and it's got white light like a hospital, or I see a shop that's got white lights like a hospital. Like I don't even go in there. It's just stressful being in there. This awful bright light. And so you actually become, you become a little bit of a light snob. Like if I see a nice restaurant that's got beautiful low lights, maybe some candles, really subtle lighting, it's kind of dark, it's beautiful, because I walk in there and I immediately feel relaxed. It takes your eyes a little bit of time to adjust, but eventually they adjust. You can sit, you read the menu, you have a lovely meal. And people don't notice it until you point it out, So like around my house, I use red light bulbs at night. So as soon as the sun goes down, I have lamps and I have light bulbs and I'll switch them on and my whole house is red and orange. And when people first come around, they're like, whoa, what's up with your house, dude? Like, why is it so like red? And I explain to them. And then 20 minutes, half an hour later, I'll say, don't you feel relaxed? Don't you feel good? And they go, yeah, man, it's actually I feel so relaxed. I feel so chilled. This is amazing. And then they'll go back to their house, get ready for bed and switch on all the lights. And then suddenly it's like, oh my God, this bright light, because they've got, normal lights in their house. And so many times they'll comment to me, they'll say, oh my God, like after being in your house for a few hours last night, now coming to my house, it's shocking how bright it is.
Yes. And I find, Bryan, that once you know that, you can't unknow it. In other words, you then become so sensitive to it. If I feel that fluorescent bright white light, I'm actually experience a mild physical pain even for a few seconds. Like it hurts, I just find that. Yeah. And I was not aware of that, but now I've sensed it and I learn how to listen to my body, because before I was just, completely ignoring all the signals. And I don't think I even heard the signal that my body was sending to me. And now I'm much more in tune. And I'll tell you where else I notice it most, and I would love for you to share your experience, is airports and airplanes. I travel constantly, and I have a lot of clients that tell me they suffer from jet lag and they have these tension headaches and migraines in the airport. And they often tell me it's because they're so stressed and overwhelmed and burned out. And I hear that. But I also think it's because of how bright the light is in these environments. So I travel with blue light blockers, and it's a game changer in terms of my comfort level when I travel in the airport.
Absolutely. And also hats. When I go to an airport, I wear a baseball cap, so at least you can stop some of the light coming from the top. And when I'm on the aeroplane, hoodie, cap, blue blockers. Just to keep the light off you, but it's also, it's the sound, it's the stimulation, it's, you walk through the duty-free section, it's just perfumes and fragrances and chemicals. Like it's a very stressful place. And I read an article only a week ago, 2 weeks ago, talking about how they found out that if they have really, really bright lights in shops, people will buy more. You'll spend more money when you're in a shop with really bright light, because it actually makes you stressed out on a micro level. And when you're stressed out, especially if you're comfort shopping or you're dopamine shopping, where you're buying something, you don't really need it. But, the whole consumerism idea is, if you're feeling down, you go out and buy a nice pair of shoes, or you buy a nice dress. Or you buy, men, what do we buy? Maybe I will go and buy some workout equipment,
toys.
Yeah, or tie, or
gadgets.
Whatever, suits, gadgets, because that hit of dopamine, we all know that what's the word I'm looking for? That it's just that consumerism, that hit of dopamine when you buy something new, it makes you feel better. So they actually put harsh artificial lights in shops to make you stressed. So you're more likely to be like, oh, I'm just going to buy this just to get rid of this feeling of stress. I'll buy something and get that little dopamine boost and then feel good for a few minutes. But it's absolutely blows my mind. And it actually, once you become aware of the light environment, I've thought about this, because I've been like biohacking for so long and like hacking my environment for so long, I've actually become very sensitive to normal life. you know. So if I go to like, you know, you go somewhere like a little street food market, I can't eat any of the food because I've been eating so clean for so long that if I eat anything from a street food place, I just don't feel good. I get inflamed, I, you know, could get stomach cramps. And that never used to happen. You know, when I was like eating more normal, I could eat anything and feel fine. You know, okay, I was chubby, had brain fog, I had digestive problems, but I could eat anything and feel fine. But now, because I eat so clean, if I eat something that's not clean, I really, really notice it. And now that I'm hacking my light environment so much, it's really uncomfortable to be in a normal environment, you know, with horrible light. So it's like a,
we're not selling it, Bryan. We're not selling it. Sorry. So basically, you're going to become a snob. You're going to be sensitive. You're going to be in pain. I think we need to fine tune our message a little bit.
Well, it's true. You know, it's true.
You become like, more aware.
You become more aware, exactly. You know, and the benefits pay off, but you know, I guess it depends how sick you are. You know. And how stressed you are. Like if your work and your stress is really ruining your life, then you know extreme stress, extreme illness requires extreme habits. You know, to kind of start fixing the problem. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, and it's an easy win, light. Of all things that you can do in life, this is one of the things that you can tweak quite easily. It requires a little bit of investment initially, but it's easy to maintain, and you keep your glasses for years. And, you know, I've had my panels for years. I've had my glasses for years, and they're always with me, and they're part and parcel of my environment. And as an ex-insomniac, I've noticed something really interesting, and I would love to know if this is something you experience as well, is the minute I put my glasses on, it's almost like I've trained myself to say, okay, the day is over now. It's time to relax. I switch into a different modality, which is really interesting, which is my calm and relaxed modality. And as I see the world in a different color, I also notice my emotional landscape switching into a far calmer, relaxed, ready to sleep state. It does make watching movie a little bit odd because everything seems to be looking different. So it takes a bit of adjustment if you really want to watch a movie with your glasses.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And again, that speaks to the circadian rhythm, you know, because these blue blockers, like I've got a pair here. So you get these ones that are like this yellow lens, and you can kind of see what it does. It makes the whole environment look, you know, kind of yellow. But like you say, it instantly calms the brain because it's cutting out, you know, in the case of these yellow ones, it's cutting out 95% of the blue and green light. And the blue and green light is what stimulates your brain and makes your brain stressed and releases cortisol and releases adrenaline. So as soon as you put these on, you're cutting all that light out. Your brain does instantly calm down. It starts to relax. It starts to go into, you know, the parasympathetic, you know, mode of being. And that makes you feel relaxed. It makes your emotions calm down. It makes you think clearer.
Yes. And then could you perhaps give us a little bit of a toolkit around shades and colors? Because we have the yellow lenses and then we have the darker, redder lenses. So if we have a listener that doesn't know where to start off in their journeys, what time, roughly speaking, or at which point should they put their yellow ones? Which point do they put their red ones? Can you walk us through the difference and explain a little bit about that?
Yes, that's a great point. So blue blockers do come in all kinds of shades. And the one thing that people need to remember is that the darker the color, the more light it's going to block out. Okay, so there's some blue blockers. Some companies call them blue blockers. Some companies call them computer lenses. They're clear lenses. Okay, and you know that's a misrepresentation because they're not blocking any blue light. Because the lenses are clear, they're letting in all the blue light and all the other colors of the spectrum. They're actually
blocking. Are they
blocking,
worth having or not at all?
Only if you're very, very, very conscious of the yellow color. because some people feel uncomfortable wearing yellow, for example. But so what the clear lenses block is they block violet light. And violet light is just before blue light on the color spectrum. It can help with focus while you're working on the computer, but it's not doing anything for the blue or green light. And the blue or green light's what's stimulating your brain and making your brain go crazy. So as the tint gets darker, you start to block out more light. And when you get all the way to the red, like you were saying, so it goes clear, yellow, orange, and red. Orange blocks out more than yellow, but less than red. And red blocks out 100% blue and green light. When you put the red ones on, everything is red. And that's really, really good for sleep, because when your eyes are perceiving only red, it actually promotes melatonin production. Red light promotes melatonin production. So that will kick your brain into overdrive. And like you say, you fall asleep with your glasses on because your melatonin production is going so well.
And so which one, in your experience, Bryan, would be the right type of shade to use for a listener who still wants to be alert, so doesn't want to go to sleep? Say somebody's working on a brief or a con call and it's 1 a.m. So they still need to have their brain switched on, but they're aware of the fact that it's the middle of the night. How can they mitigate the risk of blue light without falling asleep in their con call?
Well, look, the short answer is yellow. Yellow is the most user-friendly because many times I will use these during the day because sometimes my eyes just don't feel good. Depending on what kind of screen I'm looking at, my eyes just don't feel good. So I put the yellow ones on, and you can wear the yellow ones all day if you need to. You can wear them into the evening while you're working. It lets in 5% blue and green light. So that's just enough to keep you alert, keep you awake, but it doesn't stress your eyes and it doesn't stress your brains. So the yellow ones are the most user-friendly. You can wear these while you're driving. You can wear, you can watch presentations with them because it still gives you a good idea of what you're looking at. If I was doing a conference call at 1 o'clock in the morning, I would wear my yellow ones. And depending on the context of the call, I would even consider wearing the red ones. If it's going to be a 5-hour call, then you don't want to fall asleep. But if it's only an hour, you can wear your red ones and be part of the call, because as soon as the call's finished, if you're planning on going to sleep, you're going to already have a head start with the melatonin production.
Yeah, absolutely. But it is good to remind our listener that it's not safe to drive in your red shade, right?
Yes. Yeah. It makes everything red. So it can be difficult to know what's what. If you're sitting at home, there's almost no danger, so you can wear the red ones. But if you're driving, it's not recommended.
That's really good to know. And then how does that tie into red light therapy then? If we were to educate ourselves on how we can integrate more light hacking into our environment, how would one use their blue blocking glasses and their red light therapy?
So if you are the kind of person that's very, very committed, you're very much into your health and wellness, I would recommend the following protocol. This is what I tell all my clients. I've been telling this for years. Wake up at the same time every day. As soon as you wake up, do your red light therapy. Try and get it especially on your face and in your eyes, but on your chest. And if you can, you get a big as light as possible, so you get red light therapy over as much of your body as possible. There's so many benefits when it comes to red light therapy, not just circadian rhythm and alertness and sleep, but also muscle benefits, pain, autoimmune benefits, it's skin benefits. It's really crazy. So do your red light therapy as close to waking up as you can, and then switch on all your lights or get bright light or go outside into the sun. That's even better around sunrise. And then make sure you get plenty of bright light throughout the day. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere in winter, it has to be artificial light, but get bright light. If you can get natural light, even better. get as much natural light as you can throughout the day, little breaks, just so your brain has time to, count what time of day it is. And then if you're working indoors from about lunchtime, I would recommend some yellow lenses because, up until lunchtime, the sun is getting brighter and brighter and brighter. And then after lunch, it starts to turn back into sunset. So then you can use your yellow lenses and start blocking blue light for the rest of the afternoon. I would then recommend another red light therapy session around sunset, okay, or 3 to 4 hours before sleep. So we're trying to mimic a natural light pattern using technology. That's why we do our red light therapy around sunrise to mimic sunrise. Then we have all the bright light throughout the day. Then we have another red light therapy session around sunset to mimic sunset. And then we have darkness or very, very low light after our red light therapy session. Maybe we put our yellow blockers on again, or we put the red blockers on and we turn the lights down. And then when we go to sleep, we switch off all our devices 1 hour before bed, and we just exist in a state of calmness, a state of low light, relaxing, reading, listening to some music, chilling out. And with this protocol, most people will have the best sleep of their lives. If that's too much for the normal person, then just get red light therapy whenever you can, whenever it's convenient. Get natural light whenever it's convenient, and use your blue blockers in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And in addition to helping with resetting circadian rhythm and helping with sleep, which in my experience, red light therapy has definitely done that for me, it's also incredible in terms of pain management, recovery, and lowering inflammation. I'm a runner and I run a lot, and I use red light therapy as part of my recovery routine. And it's been just a huge help to help with pain after races, and also just lower general inflammation. I put it on my lower back, my calf, and also my feet. I've been really loving that. And I would love to get your take on the role of red light therapy in terms of recovery, sports performance, and also reducing inflammation.
Yeah. So red light therapy is, like I was saying a few minutes ago, like the benefits are crazy. It's so good for everything. Just to go a little bit off topic, recently a study came out about how red light therapy lowers blood sugar. Okay. Now I never would have thought of that before, but I saw a study come out. So I thought, I'm going to test this now. So I got a continuous blood glucose monitor, and I started eating all sorts of different high carb meals and measuring my blood sugar spike. And then I would have the same meal, but do red light therapy before I was eating, and the blood sugar spike would be 20 to 30% lower, which is huge, and I would never have thought of that before. It's like, it's a red light therapy, whatever they tested for, it's really, really helpful. So in terms of the muscle performance and recovery, so it all comes back to that idea that fact that red light therapy increases cellular energy. Okay, and that's very important to understand, because all the cells of our body have little jobs to do, whether it's a skin cell, the cell of the eyes, a muscle cell, a bone cell, blood cells, everything has a little job, and they all produce energy, and they need that energy to do their job. So if they have more energy, they do their job better. Okay, so when it comes to workout and performance, if your cells have more energy, your muscles have more energy, that means you're going to run further, you're going to run faster, you're going to jump higher, you're going to lift more weight, and you're going to do it all more efficiently. It's all going to be easier to do. And we're talking 20 to 50% easier in the studies that they've done, right? So 50% easier workout, for the same weight, or maybe even more weight. That's phenomenal. And it takes 15, 20 minutes to do a session in a day. And the same thing for recovering from workouts. Obviously your muscles and your bones and your ligaments need energy to recover. So if you're doing red light therapy, they've got even more energy. So that's why your recovery is faster. That's why your muscles are less sore. And that's why your joints are less sore. And there's another amazing thing with red light therapy, and that is it's what we call a hormetic stressor. So it's a very, very small stress on the body that causes the body to kind of fortify itself and come back stronger. And so when you get this hormetic stressor from red light therapy, it causes the cells of your body to release natural anti-inflammatories into your body, which go around your body and just start to fix inflammation wherever it is, which is amazing. Because even if you're like, oh, I've got a sore knee from my run, you do red light therapy on your knee gets better faster, but the anti-inflammatories go into your blood and then circulate around your body and actually decrease inflammation everywhere. So your skin will get better, your aching wrist will get better, your sleep will get better, your eyes will get better, but you were actually only focusing on your knee, but it has benefits throughout the body.
Absolutely. In your experience, do you prefer to use it as a recovery tool or before performance as a preparation tool, or a bit of both?
Lately, I'm actually doing it directly before bed. Okay. Directly before bed, because like I've actually said a few minutes ago, for most people, I recommend 3 to 4 hours before sleep. Okay. Because that's the generally the safe time to do it, because red light therapy can be very stimulating. So in the past, I've done, many years ago, I did red light therapy before sleep, and I was like wide awake in bed. I couldn't sleep. So I realized, I had the red light therapy too close to bed. And then I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I decided to test red light therapy just before bed. I used the Aura ring to track my sleep.
Of course.
So I thought I would test red light therapy directly before bed. And it's been working amazing for me. So right now I'm doing red light therapy right before bed, but I'm doing martial arts. I'm doing a lot of weightlifting. So sometimes I'll do the treatment before the weightlifting as well, depending if I'm planning on a big day. I'll do it before, and then I will also do it at the end of the day. So if I do the red light therapy before the weightlifting, it increases blood flow, increases joint mobility, and increases muscle strength before lifting weights. Yes. Okay, then many, many hours later, when I do it before sleep, now it's the recovery part, because my muscles have done all the work and now the muscles are recovering. So now I'm giving them extra energy to recover. I'm giving them, I'm promoting extra anti-inflammatories so the muscles will recover faster.
I've been using it in various ways as well, pre and post performance, and it's just a nice way to play with it. And then you get to also see what your body responds to best. And I love hacking it with treatments. What I mean by that is, for instance, if I put some coconut oil or some argan oil on my hair as a treatment, I would love to do it in conjunction with a red light therapy exposure. And I find that it's that really special self-care moment where I combine it, or I also combine it with listening to a meditation recording, and then it sets a very nice self-care moment. So I'm just thinking about our listeners as well that are time pressed and time poor. You can hack some of your self-care habits and stack them.
Yeah, it's definitely, I definitely recommend stacking it with more like parasympathetic focused modalities, so I won't stack it like some people like to do it while they're working out. So they'll have it in their gym and then lift weights in front of the light. Like it doesn't really work like that. It's so profound that I recommend people commit 10 minutes to red light therapy, because you've got to be really close to your device. You've got to be right in front of it. You can't be over there doing some yoga or doing a workout and hoping for pain relief benefits, But what I'm also actually doing right now is my evening session, I combine it with some vagal nerve stimulation. So I'm using the pulsetto, which is kind of an electro stimulator that you put on your neck here, and it kind of, electrically stimulates your vagus nerve. And I'm just literally just meditating and breathing in front of the red light, and it's so relaxing, man. And I'm getting fantastic sleep. I'm seeing my HRV score slowly start to go up. So it's very, very, and I mean the HRV is like, that's the ultimate stress test. If you can get your HRV going up, then you're doing well.
Yes, and then you check your metrics on your aura, and you see that when you did red light therapy and meditation or hypnosis at night, then your REM sleep is better and you feel recovered. And it just, tracking the metrics is very factual, and you can see the results. So I appreciate your insights.
It's good for it's like it's a good reward. Because, especially if you're new to this kind of stuff and you're a little bit skeptical and you're like, I don't know, like vagus nerve stuff, I was like, I've known about vagus nerve stimulation for a long time, but I was never, my HRV was always good. I was never stressed. So I didn't worry about it. But now that I'm doing it and I'm tracking it and I can see they're actually working together. So it's just a way to confirm, like, okay, I'm not crazy. I'm not wasting my time and I'm not wasting my money. Like, this is actually really working.
Wonderful. Bryan, I'm so grateful for our conversation today. It was really insightful. And I would love to ask you just one last question to wrap us up is, where would you like our listeners to get in touch with you? What is the best way to get into your red light rising world?
Yeah, I mean, if they want to explore a little bit more about red light therapy, we've got some amazing new products that have come out. That are coming out in August. So they can check out the website, redlightrising.co.uk. And if they want to, learn a bit more about my philosophy and lots of other wellness stuff, they can check out Red Light Rising on Instagram. That's at Red Light Rising. And if they want to speak to me directly, just message via Instagram or via the website and say, hey, I want to speak to Bryan about this. And I will eventually get the message.
Wonderful. Bryan, I appreciate that. And I'll make sure to add the website and the codes in the show notes as well for listeners that want to try out your amazing products. I've had them for years now in France and in the UK, and I travel with your products and I love it. So I'll make sure to spread the words.
Cool. Thank you so much. It's been lovely.
Thank you for spending your time with me today and listening to this episode. Remember to subscribe so that you can receive weekly updates. And if today's message resonated with you, please remember to share it with a friend, a colleague, or a loved one who could really benefit from this episode.